and welcome to Hearth Crafts. My name is Charlotte and this is my channel where I talk general rubbish about my chaotic crafty life. I live on the south coast of England with my 5 neurospicy children, and crafting keeps me sane. How are you all? I hope you all had a lovely festive period. Happy New Year! As I'm recording this, it is Friday the 2nd of January, and this is my first instalment into the 12 Cast Ons 2026. Yay! I'm so excited. I've been so desperate to record this video and really get started, but I have had to finish up all my gift knits. They are done. We are now throwing ourselves fully into the 12 Cast Ons. So today's going to be a little bit of an introduction, very brief introduction, and then I am going to tell you about my first cast on. So the 12 Cast Ons, sometimes called the 12 Cast Ons of Christmas. I just call it the 12 Cast Ons of 2026 because obviously I'm starting mine in New Year. They run from around about Christmas Eve to 31st January. You can cast on anything from 1 to 12 projects, and it is hosted by the beautiful Ange of Yarn and Yarns. I will link her channel in the description below. She basically started this for herself to use up stash and to make sure that she was knitting things that she wanted to knit for herself. It's now become a thing. It's a whole thing all over the world. With some really amazing people joining in, and I thought I'm going to give it a go. I don't know how this is going to go for me, if I'm honest, because I'm a crocheter. Only started knitting in February, and all I wanted to do was knit socks, and that is all I have done since February 2025 is knit socks. We are now January 2026, and I want to expand my knowledge and my knitting skills. I have barely picked up a crochet hook since I started knitting. I absolutely love knitting. So there's some things that I want to learn, and I'm using the 12 Cast Ons as kind of a way to do this. Some of the 12 Cast Ons are not actual items. They are sort of groups, and you will see more of that as I go through the 12 Cast Ons. I'm going to do a separate video for each cast on. And then, I mean, there's so many different ways that everybody does their 12 cast ons. For me personally, I have bought a 12-sided dice. The idea is that once I have done all the videos for all the 12 cast ons, every Monday I will then roll the 12-sided dice, and whatever number comes up, that is the cast on that I will focus on for the week ahead. Like I said, this is going to be tricky for me because I am a very monogamous knitter so far. I wasn't a very monogamous crocheter, but I've just wanted to knit socks, and I do tend to finish one pair of socks before starting another one. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, the way that Ange describes it is that she is casting on 12 projects to set herself up for the coming days, weeks, months, or even years of making. So this is how I'm going into this. These items do not have to be finished in 2026. These can still be on the needles, however long. It would be lovely to get them all finished in 2026, but it's not the be all end all. If I roll for project 4 and that particular week I don't end up actually knitting on it really because I'm really into a pair of socks that I'm making, then I'm not going to beat myself up about that. Like, there's no rules. This is not like, this is fun. This is a hobby. So let's be okay with whatever happens. I will be knitting socks alongside this that aren't part of the 12 cast ons because I just love sock knitting and I need more. I have about 5 wearable pairs of socks. I need a whole drawer full. Okay, I need a drawer full. So I will be sock knitting alongside all my 12 cast ons. but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. And it might be that my initial way of doing these 12 cast-ons doesn't actually work and that I might have to switch it up a little bit. This is my first year of doing it, and I'm learning so much from all the other YouTubers that are doing the 12 cast-ons. I absolutely love it. I would like to particularly mention Soxy Nana Alice. I absolutely love her channel. She is brilliant. She's so funny. And she shouted me out this morning, and I am so honoured. And just imagine, I put her video just to catch up on her 12 cast-ons on this morning, and I hear her say my name and shout out my channel, and she's linked it in the description. I am truly honoured. Thank you so much. I love your videos and I appreciate you so much. So let's get into the first cast-on. Now, the first cast-on, the reason I've chosen this as my first one is because this is one of the only cast-ons, I think there's 2 cast-ons, which I have an aim to finish by a particular time. So this particular cast-on, I really want this finished by Easter. So what this might be is that I work on this alongside whatever is rolled on the dice that particular week. Maybe I'll still carry on doing a little bit on this cast-on alongside, because I really want them finished by Easter. And they are, I'm just calling them Tudor hose. So it is a pattern from a book called The Tudor Tailor. The Tudor Tailor are absolutely phenomenal. For anyone that does any kind of reenactment of the Tudor and early Stuarts period, the book is fantastic. It's very expensive, and of course I don't have it to hand, but I will pop a photo of it in here. So a little bit of background. For those who don't know, I volunteer in a living history village. It is my second home. It is my absolute love. I adore it. It is perpetually in the year 1642. So early Stuart period. But back then, fashions and, things like that, they changed very, very slowly because, there was no internet or phones or magazines or anything like that. So fashions and trends were very slow to change. So what we find is anything from the Tudor period, it sits quite nicely in 1642, the year that we're in. So a lot of the patterns and things out of the Tudor Tailor book we can still utilise. I have been saying all year last year that I wanted to knit myself some hose. Hose are basically socks, but they didn't call them socks, they called them hose. The Tudor Tailor pattern gives you 3 different lengths. You can either have thigh high, knee high, or ankle high. I am going for knee high. Traditionally, the socks were done in kind of undyed, hand-spun wool. When I first started in the village, I began in the weaver's cottage because obviously fibre related everything, and I loved it. I do weaving, and I don't do spinning at the moment. I do know how to do it. That's another thing that I really want to learn, but I will discuss that at another point. But basically I did a lot of research when I went into the weaver's cottage about what breeds of sheep would have been around in our area at the time. There was various different breeds of sheep, but the main one was the Southdown sheep. And you can actually, they're a much rarer breed these days, but you can go and see flocks of Southdown sheep in Weald and Downland Open Air Museum. I think is it classed as Sussex? Is it classed as West Sussex? I think it's in West Sussex, but anyway, it's fantastic. And they have Southdown sheep there. And I did actually take my Southdown wool to the Weald and Downland to knit with the Southdown wool in front of the Southdown sheep. Because that's just me all over. And I love it. If I can find the picture, I'll pop it up here. But anyway, so I did not spin this myself. This is beautiful, beautiful yarn, and it's so special to me. It was quite expensive. and I got it purposely to knit myself hose. It is, you can see there, the fibre is Southdown. And the lady who spun this up for me, she's an Etsy seller, and I've got yarn from her before. She is in the UK. I will link her in the description below. I actually messaged her and said, look, is there any chance that you can find Southdown wool and spin it for me? Because I trusted her spinning, and I really want my hose to be that correct, that they are out of the right wool, because it's a great talking point as well for people who come to the village. So, and she was great, and she did, and she found it and she spun it up for me. So it's actually a sport weight yarn, but it's very rustic feeling. This is undyed. These are 50 grand skeins, and I can't remember how many of these skeins I bought. Quite a few, because I didn't want to obviously run out. I wanted her to just spin me up lots all at the same time so that I had it, because I do tend to, one of the things I do around the village as well, I don't actually tend to be in the weaver's cottage anymore. I do all sorts of different things. I'm the ale housewife sometimes I'm up in the hovel, sometimes I just potter about the village. But what I'm normally doing is I have my DPNs, and because they were used in the 17th century. That is how all sock knitting and things, or hose knitting was on DPNs. So I tend to just wander around, just knitting, nothing in particular, just using my DPNs. And the amount of people that come up to me and want to talk to me about what I'm knitting and how I'm knitting and what the wool is that I'm using and those kinds of things, it's great. So this is what I am using for my hose. I will just say, just before I go into the next bit of footage, the going back to the beginning of introducing the 12 cast-ons, these videos that I'm doing for the 12 cast-ons, they aren't going to come out in any particular time frame. I've got till 31st January. It's not going to be like I'm going to release a video a day. It might be that you see me on 3 consecutive days and then I disappear for a couple of days and then I do the next ones. It's just as and when I can fit it in around the children, really. They go back to school on Tuesday, so I'll have more time after then. But I'm hoping to get a few done this weekend, and then it might be that you don't see any for a couple of days. So don't panic. All 12 will eventually be on here. The other thing with these hose as well is there was no such thing as elastic. So when you had a pair of hose, regardless of what size they were, you also needed garters, knitted garters, to tie the socks to your legs. So along with this making of the Tudor hose will also be garters after the hose are finished. I'm not sure if, I think for this particular, for the purposes of this cast on and to have some ready, I will knit the garters because I do have the pattern for that as well. But at some point I want to do some tablet woven garters or some rigid header woven garters because I weave on a rigid header as well. I'll show you all of that. One day I'll do a video on all of my historical crafts, if that's something that would interest anyone. It interests me. I absolutely love it. But yeah, so cast on number 1, Tudor hose, knee highs. I will say the oh, and also another thing that I was going to mention. Now, my channel is called Hearth Crafts. The reason that it's called Hearth Crafts is because the crafts that I love are ones that would be done by women traditionally sat around the hearth. And this comes from my reenactment. During the day, women would have been busy cooking, looking after the livestock, tending to the gardens where they grow their vegetables and their herbs and all that kind of thing, and doing anything domestically that they needed to do around the house. Come the evening when it was cold and the light went down and things like that, the family would gather around the hearth, and it would be then that the women would be doing maybe some embroidery, or they would be knitting hose, or they would be mending garments that needed mending. It would just be a real family time in the same way that I suppose the television has replaced the hearth In modern day homes, everybody sits around and watches something on the telly. They would have all sat around the fire and they would have been doing whatever crafts they could do in low lighting around the fire. So that is where the name of my channel comes from, Hearth Crafts. It's crafts that can be done while sat round the hearth in your home. There you go. Don't think I've ever explained that before. So, and this is one. I mean, it's a great one to start on because I love anything historical. I think I was born in the wrong time zone. Anyway, so I actually did start this yesterday on the 1st of January. I slept at Pete's last night, so I took it all with me. I wound up the yarn at Pete's house. I cast it on at Pete's house, did a little bit of knitting on it. And then I did do a little bit more on it when I came home today. So I am going to transport you back now to last night. And I will show you how I got on with that. So now we are back to the present moment. And this is how far I have currently got. With the 12 cast ons, I really want to give myself a couple of days for each cast on, so that I can make some progress. But this is how far. Now, the pattern actually doesn't tell you to do any kind of ribbing whatsoever, but I did do a couple of rows of 1 by 1 ribbing just to stop it curling over so much, because I know when I've practiced these hose before, they curl a lot. So I just did 2 rows of 1 by 1 ribbing at the top there just to stop them curling over so much, and it seems to have worked, which is great. And I'm using 2.5 millimeter ChiaoGoo 9-inch circulars, and as you can see, it's actually making quite a nice fabric, not too holey. And yeah, there we go. So I'm really pleased with the progress that I've made so far. I think I'm going to carry on knitting on these. The pattern is really, really odd. So obviously the pattern is written from lots and lots of historical research, some fantastic people that have, you know, delved into really looking at the construction of historical clothing that we have left, you know, that anything that they can to write these patterns, and they've done a phenomenal job. But it is you do have to really concentrate and get your head around it. It's not written as like a standard pattern. It's written by way of lots of different tables. So you start with table 1, you take 1 measurement of like your foot, and then you measure your calf, and then you measure the length of your leg, and you follow the tables through and find your measurements. And then it tells you to do a certain thing for the first section, a certain thing, and you have to keep referring back to the measurements on the tables, and it's quite complicated. I've gone ahead and worked it all out, and written it in my knitting journal, so that I don't have to keep referring back to the pattern. It's just all here in my book, so I've just got to carry this little book around with me, and I know when I've got to start decreasing, because it's not like the normal socks that I make, because you've actually got to allow for the calf. So, you know, you decrease after the calf, and then you kind of, and also I haven't even got to the point of the heel and the toe yet. I haven't looked at how that is done, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a heel flap and heel turn and gusset. But we'll see when we get there. We've got a long way to go first. So I do plan on getting as far as where I need to be to start decreases, and then I will cast on the second sock, because this is a great thing, because it's lots and lots of round and round stockinette knitting. So these are great to have on the needles, for these will travel really well. So yes, that is it for now. My plan is that I will introduce each of these projects in their own video, and then the update of those projects will just be part of my normal weekly vlog, which is normally every Sunday. So yeah, I will keep you updated on how I'm doing with the Tudor socks in my normal Sunday vlog. So yes, that is it. Cast on number 1 for 2026. I'm very happy. I'm glad to finally have these. Like I said, the village opens again in Easter. It's open from sort of March, April time to October. So if I can have these done by the time the village opens, that'd be brilliant. If not, you know, they'll be done at some point in this season, which is really good. But if I can get them done by then, that'd be cool. So yes, thank you ever so much for watching. I'm really, really grateful for you for being here. Do remember to give my video a like. And if you want to subscribe so you can follow my 12 cast ons journey, please feel free to do that as well. I appreciate every single one of you, and I really look forward to seeing how these cast ons go. Who knows? Anyway, take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and all the very, very best wishes, luck, and health for 2026.